Spent 40 years in performance that I never expected. And I didn't know that poetry would matter the way that it obviously does. Because you can be a poet and educator, you can be a poet and broadcaster, you can be a poet and musician. Poetry, it seems to me, is a part of who and what we are, and the people in this room understand that in ways that not as many people do as should. So I'm glad to know that this is happening. The other thing you might want to know is that, although I suspect there are so many of you involved in the program, the range of poetry seems to be growing each year. There is a wide variety of choices made available, and it's a pleasure to hear new things. Maybe one day we'll hear something by Oscar Morales that isn't just him.
I am coming out with a third anthology called I Didn't Know There Were Latinos in Wisconsin, 3 Decades of Hispanic Writing. So that'll be coming out this spring, and the poet laureates of Madison, Wendy and Sarah Bussey, Wendy Laureate, they're going to be publishing it. So I'm kind of excited here. I do want to thank all the young people here. You just have a lot of spirit and a lot of fire, and you've made it very difficult for us because you're all very good. So it's kind of ironic because down the street there's a state wrestling tournament, the team state, and there's also the Big Ten championship, and we have some high school students here, and so this is a poem called 85-pound Racine Junior High School Wrestling Champion. It doesn't sound like it, but winning the Racine Junior High School Wrestling Championship might have been the highlight of my brief wrestling career. Another highlight is I also made the Racine Horlick High School varsity wrestling team as a 98-pound sophomore, which used to be the first year of high school back in the day. It was also the smallest weight class. It could have been worse if I had been the only guy in the team that small, but I had to beat out Sean Briggs and Larry McMillan and convince 2 other guys not to try out for the team, who I wrestled in gym class. I also placed second at the Racine Invitational my senior year at 126 pounds, making the finals against a wrestler my older brother beat every time. So he liked to shoot a takedown right away, so my strategy was to shoot first, which I did, and gained a 2-0 lead. But I didn't have a plan afterwards, and didn't know what to do next, and lost the match. But I still have the medal from the Racine Lighthouse Invitational Tournament 32 years later. My final highlight was my senior year in high school. We were wrestling Kenosha Tremper High, who had been ranked as one of the top wrestling teams in the state. They had the mayor of Kenosha there at the meet, and a band, and it was parents' night, and they had a 340-pound heavyweight. And all we had was a 190-pound black Jack Hansen. Jack and I had a routine where I would help warm him up before every match. And he had lost to this guy before because he was just so huge. But Jack wore him down. After getting caught underneath him once, he ended up on top with a pin. I remember being in the locker room, hearing the coach say, as we banged the locker rooms and cheered, "This will be the one night you will remember the rest of your life." I didn't believe him. And if I had not written this poem, I might have forgotten why.